Before we left for the break, I mentioned an everyday chicken breast. Turns out it's not so ordinary after all. It's one of Kroger's Simple Truth all natural chicken breasts. Now these Simple Truth all natural chicken breasts have no antibiotics, no hormones, they are free range, and they are absolutely some of the best quality chicken breasts that we have out there. So what we're going to make today is a Brie and caramelized onion stuffed chicken breast. That's the good stuff I told you about earlier that we're going to stuff this with. What we're going to start out doing is we want to caramelize our onions. You know, when we caramelize our onions, that's going to take just a little while, probably about 30 minutes. So we're going to start with got a nice hot pan, and we'll put about between a teaspoon and a tablespoon of oil in there. And we're just going to put, I've got basically an onion and a half here, and that's going to reduce down an awful lot and not make nearly as much of that onion as you think there is. You want the temperature to stay around high or medium high while you're doing this, but you want it to take a little time, because what caramelizing does is it brings out the natural sugars in the onion, and they're going to come out and become very sweet and just give you a very sweet, less oniony flavor. It's not going to be sharp. It's not going to bite your tongue when you come into it. It's just going to be real nice. Now, what we're going to do with that is just let that sit, and again, that's going to take about 30 minutes for those to get nice and brown. I've already got some here that we've done, and I'm going to add a few more things to that in just a minute, but I just want you to see what they look like when they're done. These are nice, brown, and the flavor to them is unbelievable. After these have sauteed for about 20 to 25 minutes or so, we're going to add about 4 cloves of sliced garlic. Now, we want sliced garlic in here because it's going to really give our flavor, and we want it to have a little bit of substance to go inside of our chicken breast as well. Along with that, we're going to put just a little bit of pepper, just a little bit of salt, and about 1/3 cup of white wine. And that's going to reduce down and give that a really nice flavor. All the alcohol cooks off, so you don't have to worry about becoming just a little inebriated from eating your onions here that go in your chicken breast. Now, I'm just going to set that there and let it do its thing for a little while. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to start by telling you how to stuff our chicken breast. First thing we're going to do is prepare our chicken. I'm putting on a pair of gloves here to handle this with. You might want to be sure that you always wash your hands, always wash the boards that you're working on after you do this. Just don't want to play with chicken as far as health safety is concerned. We've got a nice, full, plump chicken breast here, and what I'm going to do is in the thickest part, I'm just going to go in here and make a horizontal cut. I don't want it to take the whole length of the chicken. I don't want to cut the chicken in half. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here and go back towards the back, and I'm creating a pocket that goes in here. Now the recipe only calls for about 2 tablespoons of the filling to go in there, but you'll see in a minute we're going to really fill that up. So I'm going to go ahead and do our other chicken breast here, and you want to put your knife into the thickest part of the chicken and just make those pockets in there. And that, you can just put your finger in there and swirl that around a little bit, and you've got it good. Now we're going to put together our Brie and caramelized onion topping, or stuffing rather. It's not a topping. First thing we're going to do is Brie. I don't know if you know about Brie or not, but Brie is a cow's milk cheese. It's a very soft cow's milk cheese. Generally takes about 6 to 8 weeks for it to age and become to where the consistency and texture that you want it. Now you hear about Brie, you hear double cream Brie, triple cream Brie. These are President's Bries, and these are a single cream Brie. A double cream Brie would mean that the butterfat content is at least 60 to 70%, which is really creamy and fatty. But then a triple cream Brie is even better because it's at least 75% butterfat content in the cheese, and that is just going to make it, when you bite into it, it's creamy, it has a buttery, nutty flavor to it. But what we're going to do is cut this mold off the outside. Now, it's also called a rind, but it's mold. It's a good mold. You can eat it. Most people do eat the mold off of it when you're eating Brie, just as a slice it. But we want that off when we stuff it. So we're just taking that rind right off of there. We're going to cut that into cubes. And then it's going to go into a bowl here. I already have some that we did. So we're going to put those right in there. Stir up our onions that we've got going here. You can see that they're already starting to turn a little bit of brown for us. Now what we're going to do is once those were done and caramelized, we're going to let them cool for just a few minutes, and then we're going to take that and just mix it right in with that brie. You don't want it so hot that it's going to melt the brie right away, because we want the brie to melt while it's inside the chicken. Now we're just going to take that and mix that around a little bit. And I'm going to move this over to our other side here and get us another pan. Now, to stuff this brie into this chicken, we're just going to take that, and you'll see the pocket that I have opened up there. And you're going to have to use your fingers. And we're just going to stuff that right inside. Want to make sure you get plenty of onions as well as plenty of brie in there. You want to get that nice and tidy if you can. And then what we're going to do with it, we're just going to put about a couple tablespoons of oil in the pan. You want the pan to be already nice and hot, and I've had this preheating. And then we're just going to set it right in there. We're going to take our other chicken breasts and do the same thing. And the recipe here calls for 4. You could increase the amount of anything and go with more or less. Reduce the recipe and you go with just the 2. It's a little messy when you stuff these things, but that's quite all right. We're going to go swirl us a little oil over there. Keep stirring that. Now these are going to take about 6 minutes on each side. Okay, these have been going about 12 minutes now, I think, and they're just about ready. But what we're going to do first is we're going to take them off of our heat. These are about 3/4 of the way done. You can see that nice caramel onions on top of there. Just the color is unbelievable. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make just a little bit of sauce for them to set in. We're going to start out by deglazing the pan with about 1/3 of a cup of white wine. Next thing, about 2 tablespoons full of chopped onions, about 2 cloves of garlic, and then we're going to take some fresh sage and just chop it right up. And it goes right in the pan, right on along there. Now we're going to let that kind of get to know itself just a little bit, let the garlic and the onion flavor come out in that. And then what we're going to do is add some chicken stock. Now we're going to bring that up and reduce that down. And ideally you're going to want to let that reduce down to almost half, not quite half. By reducing, I mean we're just going to let it evaporate. It's going to continue to cook and it's going to evaporate away, and that's what we call reducing. Now, to finish the dish off, we're just going to put our chicken right back in here. And it's going to take about another 3 to 4 minutes in the pan there. When that's done, we're just going to take our chicken breasts. See that brie oozing out of there? We're going to put them on our plate. I'm going to take just a little bit of this and drizzle right over the tops. And then I always save just a little piece of onion to go right on top there as well. And there you have it. It's our brie and caramelized onion stuffed chicken breast. After a short break, we'll come back with a meal ender that's sure to put a smile on everybody's face.